Now then, guys.
It worked for the TV show Friends and so many others. We would do like a cheesy clip show.
Talk about Adam's trip to Canada and shitting himself.
When you piss in the jungle, obviously there's no toilets. You're not allowed to do a solid stream of piss. You've got to break it because there's the, I can't think what they're called, but they swim up your piss and they have like barbs and they'll fucking bury themselves in you, like in your dick.
I took his back, but instead of stinking it under his neck and actually choking him clean, I just put it across his face and I just tried to snap his neck, and there were a few pops. He tapped, quite a lot on the mat, and then I let it go.
Can you tell us about the time that your dick stopped working?
Oh my God. Are we doing that one? Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Josh.
And this week on the Breaking Bread podcast, Josh, the gaff over here, he told me to come up with an idea for a show and I completely forgot. So we thought, in time-honoured tradition, it worked for the TV show Friends and so many others, we would do like a cheesy clip show.
Mate, what are you doing? You're breaking. So you had one job and you fucked that up. Then you come on and you're sucking on a fucking mint.
Not a mint.
So you're just offending people's ears.
I'm sucking on a mint because I thought my breath felt. When you sometimes smell your own breath?
Yeah.
It's either my breath or my beard. Could be the latter. I thought, you know what? I'm going to be talking to Josh. I better suck on a mint. So therefore, when I speak, he gets a fresh Arctic breast.
I don't
breast? That was Arctic breath or blast. I was kind of halfway between two.
I don't know if it's going to be as offensive to those that are listening, but in these headphones, that sounds so bad. It's like proper clangy.
Do you want me to swallow it and do it again?
No, you can keep it. We'll carry on. We'll roll with it. But yeah, we've put together a little compilation of clips for those that have, there's a lot of new listeners, surprisingly. The audience has grown. So those that may have come late to the pie, you've missed some funny tales.
Is it a best bits or worst bits or a bit of a combination of both?
We'll let the people in the comments decide.
All right, so apparently clip number 1, George tells me, is it was the first upload on the Clips channel. Yeah?
Yep.
Which apparently we have. I'm not even subscribed to it, do you know that? But I'm telling a story apparently about when I was on the Jackmate's Happy Hour podcast in that fucking sweatbox.
We could relive it again.
Yeah, relive it a second time. Roll VT.
I've been down to the Jackmate studio twice now because we manage a channel for Ben Pearson, ex-police interceptor. He got invited down first, and then because I'd been down with him, met Jack. Jack then said, you know Beard? I was like, that I do. He's like, do you reckon he'll come on the podcast? I'm like, nope. He's not the sort of guy to go do a podcast. He's like, do you reckon you could ask him? And I'm like, I can ask.
Usually no. I only said yeah actually because everyone, like every time he puts, they put. I don't have anything against like Jackmate or whatever.
No.
I just don't like doing podcasts. I don't think I'm that interested in a person to do them.
So he starts his own podcast.
But yeah, my own's a different man. But he every time he tweets something saying who should we get on as a guest, lots of people tag me, right? So because I know people want me to be on it,
yeah,
I thought I kind of had a responsibility to go on, and I thought it'd be a laugh. I didn't realize it was going to be in a sauna.
Yeah, I mean their studio is ridiculous. Like it's in a little serviced office building in some area of London.
Yeah,
and they've sort of built like a self-contained studio box within this tiny little office. And because of obviously the nature of recording audio, you can't have an air conditioning unit running. A bunch of lights, a bunch of electricity. It is a sweat box, and it was basically middle of summer as well, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I very rarely ever sweat. I'm always cold, usually, generally because I undereat most of the week. But it was hard for me to tolerate that. I came out like I like John Travolta, from Pulp Fiction when he's got his slick back, greasy hair and stuff.
You came out screaming, "I never sweat."
Well, I don't, man. But it was so hot, and I don't know how they tolerate it. I mean, they wrap mine up pretty quickly. Normally, they go if they get an actual, interesting guest on there, somebody who's, it's good to listen to. Then they go for like 90 minutes. But I was only in there like 50.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know how they tolerate it longer than that.
Yeah, because they do back-to-back podcasts. I think they do like 3 a time because they only go down once a week, every Thursday, I think it is. So they do like a podcast with a guest, a podcast by themselves, and then like another one as well. Fair play to them, man. They're chiming them out. I wonder what their Spotify deal looks like.
I don't know. I mean, with this setup though, only a matter of time, surely, before we get our own Spotify exclusive.
It's got to be weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, surely.
Now then, guys, welcome back to the RateMyTakeaway studio. This was our first guest, actively chosen as well. Like we select we selected him like it's an honour. It's not an honour. We just said, wouldn't that be a great guest seeing as though he lives across the road?
We select him because I said we should build some kind of wire and just like winch him over, you know what I mean, through the window.
But yeah, first guest on the show was Mr. Danny from RateMyTakeaway, a lovely guy, and we put his palate to the test and ordered some breakfast sandwiches. Roll VT.
Right, so we have here one item from the worst reviewed takeaway place in the local area, and one item from the best. Now they're both breakfast items, so there might be, you know, better or worse places out there depending on the time of day. But for breakfast, we got the best and the worst. Danny here, king of takeaways, is gonna try each one of them and tell us if he knows which is the best and which is the worst.
Right. Well, let's get into
So
it then.
tuck in there.
Who's gonna? Right, well, let's have a look at this one first.
It's a funny shaped bun. It looks like a tortoise.
I was thinking that myself. The baker's going to be a bit weird there, isn't it?
Yeah.
have a-
It's like those, what do they have? Those, you know, when you buy chocolates and they're out of shape, misfits.
Ah, yeah. It's a misfit sandwich.
Cutting into
What have we got inside? What's
So I'm going to have a look now. Let's have a look. So we've got a bit of an egg,
a bit of an egg.
black pudding. Oh, I love black
Ooh,
pudding.
nice. Who doesn't?
Bacon, sausage, tomatoes, some beans knocking about, bit of mushrooms. It's full.
There's one bean on the edge.
Yeah. I think one side's tomato. Oh no, yep, one side's got tomatoes on, one side's got beans on.
Oh, nice. I like the construction of that. So like you got, if you don't like tomatoes, you don't get it, you know, all over the.
yeah.
I can't stand beans in a pot.
Yeah.
In a pot,
When you
rather
have
than
a
on
breakfast,
plate.
yeah, beans in a pot, it drives me nuts. Why put beans in a pot?
It's just
Yeah,
been fancy.
easy,
eh?
Danny. Don't flip the table. It's
Telling
just
you.
beans.
So yeah, it's kicking
Getting
off.
angry now.
You know what I don't like though? Like we went on a shoot actually. Me and Mike were talking about it. This must be like a Yorkshire thing. Why is the tin tomatoes in a sandwich? Because like that's going to destroy the
Yeah, that is-
integrity of this.
It's soggy on bottom.
Is it? Yeah.
Soggy bottom, just in tomatoes. Right, let's have a
Soggy
go.
bottom. I had a soggy
have a
bottom
look.
on the episode one. Oh, look at that. That was a powerful bite. I think there's a competitive career in here. Competitive eating career in you.
I'm going to have to bit of black pudding.
Look at that, man. That's a proper bite. You're saying, what's it taste like?
It's all right. It's not bad.
Painting a real picture for me there. I feel
Soggy-
like I'm eating it.
Soggy bottom. All right. The sausage just tastes like a basic standard cafe sausage.
So a cheap sausage.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like them,
be
is it
nice about
Richmond? Is it Richmond ones where they're just like
Oh, don't say that. Mrs. Beard loves Richmond sausages. You'll be fucking up a sponsorship deal.
All right. The bread cake, it's not bad. It's nice and soft, but it's not a wow factor sandwich
right?
for me. It's just a basic breakfast sandwich.
What are we going to score that out of 10 then? And you can feel free to be a little bit more discerning on the podcast. You don't have to give it like a 10 or a 9 or whatever.
No. I mean, to be honest, how much was it? Do you know how much it was?
We don't. We can maybe we'll put that on screen afterwards. But
Yeah, because when I'm doing the review, I'm taking all this into account as well. I want to see
it wasn't too expensive. I know because I paid for it. So you're welcome, by the way.
Thank you very much. For a basic sandwich on that one, I'd go in at an 8 on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not bad
yeah.
then.
It looks like a solid workies butty. Do you know, like
Yeah.
10 o'clock on a Friday, you know, apprentice comes round, what are you having? Oh, I'll have a sausage and tomato sandwich. That's what I'd expect to see, I think.
It looks to me more like it. I bet it tastes good, but it doesn't look that great on the outside, which is not always a bad
Yeah,
thing.
the sausage, it looks a bit overcooked.
A touch, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all right. But again, it's your basic standard.
Better than the one that you had in Scotland.
Definitely.
Right. Do you want to try the second item?
The second one. So we've got some little
You-
sides
there's
here.
a
Look at these
little
bad
side,
boys.
Yeah.
Posh
I
that.
think they're like tater tots, which is weird.
Oh, little hash browns.
Little Ash Browns.
Well, yeah, tater tots, yeah, but
Is that American?
yeah, normally if they come if they're tiny, right, and they're in like a cylinder shape, they call them tater tots. Don't they? They are basically hash browns.
What, in America?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to say I'm a Barnsley lad, so for me, it's like an hash brown. It's not.
Yeah, it is a hash brown.
Watford, let's not go-
That's another time. Another one of them. Right.
You don't factor in the hash browns to it because
That's got to be part of it. He's the reviewer. Surely that's got to be part of the gig.
Yeah, that's
Right.
one it. Hash browns to 10.
here we go. This is a bit of a more. The bread looks more substantial to me.
So the bread, it's well, you can tell straight away it's a better quality bread, can't you? Looking at it, looks good, does that? Like,
Well, wait until you bite into it.
Ciabatta.
look at that. So it looks a decent sandwich. We've got the
The cross section on that is impressive. Look at that.
way up. So we've got some nice grilled bacon as well. Look at that, bit of grilled line
There's
on
hash
there.
browns in the sandwich.
Hash browns in sandwich.
Oh, what?
Bit of cheese,
Hash brown
sausage, and
overload.
egg. So again, you've got no tomatoes there, softening it up, have you?
These guys
let's
know.
get in. Oh yeah.
Sound like the Churchill dog, you know, from the carrier. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's the one.
Is that all right, that?
Yeah.
Oh, he's selling
So,
it.
so if this is the worst one, I need to go to this place because that's amazing. So the bread itself, absolutely gorgeous. The sausages, they've got a really, really nice flavour. Like so, what I call the standard cafe sausage, I don't really think there's a flavour to them.
Yeah.
These ones, you can taste the herbs, you can taste what they've put in. Absolutely gorgeous. The bacon's grilled off nice. That bit of cheese in there, that does it well. So I'm cracking on with this.
You can't beat a bit of cheese.
Look at that, eh? It does smell good. It does look good.
It looks more impressive. I reckon that. I think that looks like it tastes better.
It don't.
No?
No.
Well, I trust you. You're the takeaway boss.
That one, it's just like a quick, easy breakfast in a bread cake. That one's got a bit more. I think that's like sort of like what I got from that nibble.
That's a bit more premium.
Them
Yeah.
hash browns are bang on, you know.
They look nice actually. But so we're saying that was 8 out of 10.
Tater tots or something. Yeah.
I was just trying to add a little bit of colour there. I mean, they're technically tater tots if they're in that shape. Anyway, that's an 8 out of 10. What are we saying for this one?
I give this a 10.
A 10. 10 out of 10.
That's
Should have
a
got some
solid
kind of
10 from Danny. Wow.
Right, so we're going to throw it over to Mike over there in the corner. He's going to tell us which one is the bad one, which one's the good one.
Right, so just for the camera then, so which one do you think definitively is the bad one and which one is the good one?
That's the bad one. And that's the good one.
I think...
Be mistaken.
Am I?
Yeah. Well, it's the one on your left, camera right, is the worst reviewed.
Is it?
Is that the worst?
Yeah. And the one on the right, on camera left, is
That actually, that got... The place that sells that got 5 stars on Just Eat. This place had 3, I think it's slightly less than 3 stars.
Never.
But
So-
you have to think that they could be factoring into that. That did take a little bit longer to arrive.
Yeah, because it's a you go to the takeaway, so you get it straight away, don't you?
So that's a slightly
That
different
tastes
factor.
fresher than what that does. In the fact of like the ingredients in there taste good. They've got a good flavour. It goes together well.
I have to say,
tastes-
looking at it, that does look better. I would have gone with that one as the premium
I
one.
think what we've established, and this is to your favour, you can't believe what it said on the what takeaway app, Just Eat or whatever.
Just Eat, I think we
You've
used it.
got to only listen to what Danny's got to say. That's the answer to all of this.
But like I say every time, it is my opinion. So in my opinion, out of the two, that's the better one.
Crystal clear, man.
So the next clip I'm told is the now infamous clip. What has been watched 20,000 times?
22,000 times.
So 22,000 people heard or watched at least the story of me. One of the many stories about me shitting my pants while doing a food challenge. So that's the next clip you're going to see.
Talk about Adam's trip to Canada and shitting himself.
Oh, we going there this early? Oh. This is what you're going to get with this podcast. A little bit of the stuff that doesn't necessarily make it into some of my videos that we can chat about. Yeah, the trip to Canada was good, and I mean accidents happen, you know. Luckily, Mrs. Beard she packs my case because I'm, you know. I think
A man-child.
yeah, you need to have like some kind of. You should be working for NASA if you're packing suitcases like that because I don't know how she fits it all in. But yeah, she luckily packs like if I'm going somewhere for 20 days, she'll pack 26 pairs of underwear just in case the worst happens. You want me to tell you the full story?
Yeah, I think I do. I mean, a backstory. I mean, you obviously you're not bothered. You don't ever get embarrassed from when I've ever known you. But there has been times where I've been literally stood at home with my missus Sunday lunchtime, and I'll get a WhatsApp and it's from Adam, and I you not. You would message me on a Sunday, and I'm stood there with missus, and you'd put something along the lines of, I've just shit my pants, so I've had to throw my undies out of the window of the toilet, and I've then had to go collect them on my way out.
That was a different time. So it happens. It's not like I'm doing it every week, but like in my line of work, in case you don't know what I do, yeah, I eat lots of food, And sometimes if you push past the envelope, you know, sometimes the worst does happen. But that was a different time. But yeah, I got caught short in a toilet in I forget the name of the restaurant now. And I thought, well, either I'm walking back out into this restaurant because there was like a little crowd had amassed, right, which sometimes happens. I thought I can't walk out with underwear in my hands, right? I'm not putting shitty underwear in my pockets. So what do? I thought I can't flush them because that's going to wreck their plumbing. So I'm looking for options, trying to problem solve on the fly, and there's a window right above the toilet, like there often is.
Yeah.
So I pop the window, and I look out, and I'm thinking, right, there aren't many people around. There's kind of a van blocking the view of this part. So I thought I'll hoy him out the window, and then it'll be like 2 minutes before we leave. Hopefully nobody will come across these shitty pants. It worked out in the end. We left, said see you later. Picked up the pants on the way out, threw them in a nearby skip. You know, nobody was the wiser.
I've got this vision of Mrs. Beard at home. You know, like when you were at primary school and you'd have like an iron-in sort of sticker at the back and it says like Adam Moran, aged 36, and they're just these shitty knickers.
I don't want to make out like I'm in my pants, 24/7. It's just it happens occasionally, and I'm happy to confess to it.
So what happened in Canada then? How did you yourself in Canada?
Man. Canada was like, I was so close. I almost did, I almost got away with it. But like I did this food challenge, right, which was a big Canadian breakfast, and it's supposed to be about, I don't know, maybe 5-6 pounds. And I had done one the day before, which I normally don't do. But if I'm on a shoot in a location, for example, Canada, where I've specifically traveled there to shoot lots of content, I might do 2 in a day if I have to, right? So anyway, I looked at this picture. I'm thinking that's easy enough. I get to the restaurant and I whip the cameras out, which naturally alarms the chef. They'd be thinking, what's going on here, right? And so he starts making it and he puts some hash browns on the grill, right on the griddle. But not what I think of as hash browns, not like the ones you get from McDonald's.
Like them scattered out like
yeah, kind of like they, I guess they would kind of call them like home fries. So it's kind of onions, potatoes, just mashed up into a loose mix. And I'm like, wow, that's actually quite a lot of hash browns there, right? But it should be all right because there's some big pancakes on it as well, bacon, sausage. I'm like, that should be all right. So he plates it up, and then I'm taking some shots of something else, getting some B-roll, some nice fancy B-roll. And I come back, and there's 2 more equal-sized portions of hash browns on the grill, and I'm thinking, well, that must be somebody else's order, and maybe they've just ordered a large portion of hash browns or whatever. Nah, he puts those on as well, so there must be about 5 pounds of hash browns on this plate alone, right, without all the other stuff on top. It lands on my plate, on my table, and I'm thinking, oh God, this is going to be a hard one, right? Sometimes you just want to, it's not always about me, trying to eat till I pop.
It's just entertainment.
It's supposed to be entertainment, right? So a lot of the time I'm thinking, right, if I'm going to do a really big one that's going to be hard, I'll do a bit of prep, in the morning. I'll do a few little stretches and stuff. This I've not prepared for, and I've done something pretty heavy the day before. Anyway, long story short, I just about finished it, but it was hard work, right? At the end, I'm like, oh, I need to stand up here, which you normally do, loosen things up a little. So I stand up, and I just kind of felt this sensation of something dropping in my stomach, kind of a gurgling sound, and I'm like, oh wow, I need to poop, Yep. But in Canada, North America, it's not uncommon for them to lock the bathrooms, right? In restaurants, I suppose to stop like smackheads using them or whatever. But I didn't know that at first. I knew where the toilet was, so I went to go use the toilet, leaving all my camera gear behind, which is kind of risky in itself. I'm trying the door doesn't open, so I come back and I'm like, oh, it must require a key. The chef's gone, the waitress is gone, nobody's around. So if you look at the CCTV footage from that restaurant, it must be hilarious because I'm just like kind of dancing on the spot like this, like Finch from American Pie. And eventually she comes back. I'm like, I need to get in the toilet. And she's like, oh yeah, just take the key, honey. And I'm like, okay. So I take the key. Then I couldn't get the key to work right in the door. My dexterity wasn't what it should be, and so I'm like rushing. With every second that goes by, I'm getting closer and closer to it. Right. So in the end, I finally get in. I'm almost there. Right. The Holy Grail is there in front of me. So I run in and I turn and I actually took my bag. But in the time it took for me to get the key, I'd put my 2 most expensive cameras in my camera bag. I thought if the other one gets nicked, fine, all right. But I'm taking these 2 with me. So I throw my bag into the corner of the cubicle, and I turned to lock the door. And as I turned, I don't know what I did, but intra-abdominal pressure increased, and I just went. That's so close, man. I'm almost there. The toilet's right there, and then sure. I won't get into too much detail. I don't want to gross people out, but it wasn't the worst colonic debacle of my life. But yeah, certainly the pants. Luckily, they had a bin next to the toilet though, so I didn't need to throw it anywhere. Pants went in the bin.
So we've heard about you shitting your pants. I think many people actually listen to you shit your pants. The amount of times you've shit your pants in the studio is unforgivable, to be honest. And which leads nicely on to the next clip about how you and Mrs. Beard met, which again is surprising that somebody can put up with you shitting your pants and shitting in the house all the time.
I thought you were suggesting that we had met because I had shit my pants and she was sent to clean it up or something. Yeah, a story about how Mrs. Beard and I met.
Let's take it back then. So we've got Mrs. Beard in the studio. Like, I want to know, where did it all start for you two then? Because he had a legitimate job at one point, right?
Yeah, we worked together.
So is this where it started? What's the deal?
Yeah.
Am I telling the story? Do you want to tell it?
Shall I tell them? Do you want to tell the printer story?
I'll tell the printer story.
You tell the printer story. You're better at that.
I'm happy to admit, right? I was sat there. Well, we used to work for the set. We won't say what bank because Lindsay gets sacked. But we used to both work at the same for a stockbroker, right? And she was a little bit higher up the what's the
pecking order.
Yeah, only mildly, right? So I'm thinking, but I thought I like that this girl is she's really pretty. That's what I thought right at the time. I should caveat it by saying I like odd looking people. That's kind of I'm joking. I mean I would sit there bored all day like doing this terrible work, and I thought you shouldn't really date people at work, right? And whatnot. And she would always be really helpful. A lot of people in that line of work are all like constantly depressed when you work for a bank, right? Because it's just like grim work. So nobody's really that polite and happy at work. But I always thought like, if I ever needed anything done, right, like in terms of admin or whatever, in this particular area, I'd go see Linz. There's a bit of an excuse to perv on her a bit, but like also to just because she was nice, right? And so yeah, I thought like I need to figure out a way here to work my way in, right? And talk to her. One day I thought I was printing something out, and she was at the printer. I thought maybe this is my chance. I'll come up with some kind of a quip or a one-liner or whatever. And it was printing off my document, and she was holding it. I can't remember what I said, but I said something like, I think you've got my document in your hand there, which is a bit creepy actually now I think about it. But then I thought she could turn around and say something really nice, but she must have been having a bad day because she went, I don't know if she said like, here you go, or just kind of went like, and like threw it in my face, and I kind of grabbed it. I was like, oh, thanks. And like walked off. I thought that's me done, right? But over time, it was like attrition, I just kind of wore her down. That was the first point at which I think she became aware of me.
I had just split up with my ex-boyfriend like 2 days before with that printer incident, so I wasn't just being a moody ass. That was the reason behind it.
All right, well, I mean...
And then we moved offices, didn't we? And we used to have a coffee machine at the top of the office and a coffee machine at the bottom of the office. I sat at the bottom next to the coffee machine. And Adam worked up at the top near his coffee machine. And this woman who used to work with was like, why does that guy with the beard keep coming down to our coffee machine? Why? He's got one right near his desk. Why does he need to be here? And I was like, I don't know.
It was one of those, like, I'd walk up to the coffee machine and be like, ooh, I'll get my decaf black coffee. And be like, oh, yeah, that tidy girl from this ex-department is in today.
And we'd all be like, what a weirdo. Why is he coming down to this coffee machine?
Why is that little fella with hairy face every day?
You didn't see his outfits back then. If you think he's got a bad, like, fashion thing then.
What was it like?
So he used to wear, I remember seeing him once. The first time I ever properly clocked him was... You like, they were All Saints, so, good brand. This is what he tells me now.
Whoa.
Do you know carrot type trousers?
Yeah, I remember them
like,
with a low crotch.
These were like past his knees, like dragging on the floor, like a really off-coloured grey, but dark grey. And then
I'm relieved.
Shirt was it?
I'm relieved that you're talking about that and not the kind of half shorts, the Aladdin pants. I thought that's what you were going to make. Oh, we're going to come on to those. Itemize a list.
And what shirt? Who was that football team? It was bright pink.
Oh, I had the Juventus away kit with my name and squad number on the back.
This is what you wore at work?
Yeah, you weren't allowed to wear football shirts either, but obviously Adam is Adam.
On Fridays, they would do dress down day, right?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a customer facing thing.
Right.
But they would say like no football shirts, but I thought, fucking dress down day, right?
You know who I am. I'm Adam.
Fuck the police.
Yeah. It was a nice shirt. It was an expensive football shirt, that. And it's a really nice football shirt. Mike might know. But it's Juve's old away kit, the pink.
We'll put it on screen.
Nice kit.
But yeah, I remember seeing him walking away from me, walking down somewhere. And I turned to this guy who I work with and I was like, you know
What
what?
guy? There was another guy. What guy?
And I remember saying, this is before like I'd even known that you were perving or whatever. I was like, do you know what? If he didn't dress so garishly, he might be all right. And then rest is history.
Next clip that you're going to see is when we had Honor on from Dies in Every Film's
Customs.
Dies in Every Film Customs. Not Dies in Every Films, that would make no sense, would it? It's not plural. And he told us about being on, what do you call it, on patrol?
It was deployed to the Belize jungle.
Deployed in the jungle. He told us it was one of the only stories he told on that episode that I've committed to memory rather than erased from memory, because a lot of it was pretty harrowing. But yeah, he told us about insects that crawl up your dick and stuff.
Came back from Afghan. What did we do then? I think we did Belize jungle training, which was real fun. Like living in jungle, learning to survive. Set traps, all sorts of stuff there. That was really fun too, because that was stuff what I wanted to do. Like we did attacks in the jungle, and it's weird because I always say, like, when we're in the jungle, like, it's not like people think like the jungle's like woods like round here, and the canopy is so like dense. You have like over 12 hours sleep a night. Like you'll set your hammock up and it's dark. Once it's dark, the night sights don't work. The night sights work off ambient light, so they need stars, they need the moon. There's fucking no ambient light, so you're not doing anything. So you're just in your fucking, like, in your sleeping bag, and that's it. And like I remember, like, you'd shine your torch out, and all you'd see is that, I think they're called wolf spiders, and you'd see the little beady eyes, like cat's eyes, just fucking loads of them everywhere. So I'm like, fucking eye out moving out of this cunt until like, I'm not moving out of this at all. Like I'm staying. I fucking hate spiders.
Yeah, I couldn't. That's one reason why I'd never want to go into the jungle, because of the moisture of the place and the bugs that come out at night, and then obviously like cats and stuff that live in the jungle.
I can't think what we were watching the other day as well, and like what was fucking we were watching. I was watching something with a little lad the other day, and there was the howler monkeys, and I remember once, like, we were doing, like, because you have to learn to map read and stuff. I mean, fucking map reading in the jungle is pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
And we were doing like sort of like map reading things, and we got to a bit, and all we thought it was a fucking warthog, and like obviously we did training before that, where like if you hear a warthog, you need to keep the fuck away from it, because they'll just fucking murk you all off.
Yeah.
Like the big strong things, they'll just start running at you and smash into you. And we thought we heard one, and it was actually the howler monkeys doing the warthog noise and watching us. Like they're just
It's a smart monkey.
yeah, apparently, like, when we came back, we were like, oh, we thought it was, and they were saying, yeah, like, the howler monkeys will do stuff, and they'll like throw stuff at you to try and wind you up. They're like sort of intelligent, and then they know what they're doing, and they'll just laugh at you.
That's incredible, that, isn't it? That is amazing.
Yeah, I can't think of many things more terrifying for me. Like I'm the indoorsy type. I killed a spider the other day, and it was about the size of the bottom of this glass, and I felt like I don't know, some kind of hero after. Yeah, I felt like Rambo afterwards.
You're like, kill me, I'm here.
That's Predator, but yeah, like
I couldn't think of any Rambo stuff.
I can't think of many things worse than that, really.
Did you see any like tarantulas and stuff while you were in
Well,
there?
yeah, our platoon sergeant, he actually opened the top of his Bergen, and it wasn't a big tarantula, it was sort of a baby one, but that was on top of it, like in the top. It must have crawled in and sat in there.
I like how you said baby one, and then you went like that. Like that ain't baby.
There was
Yeah, but it's tiny though. It's like, into perspective, it's actually not big.
Normal domestic spider size.
like, there's obviously, before we went in there, you do stuff like teaching you about stuff, and one of the biggest sort of things what I hated there was when you piss in the jungle. Obviously, there's no toilets. You're not allowed to do a solid stream of piss. You've got to break it, because there's these, I can't think what they're called, but they swim up your piss, and they have like barbs, and they'll fucking bury themselves in you, like in your dick. So like, that was even like nowadays when I think about it, I'm pissing in toilet thinking, what if there's one in toilet? Like,
Oh my god!
so
That was descriptive. Bury themselves in your dick.
Have you not heard of these?
I thought that was like a thing where, like, if you peeing in water, I didn't know that it could actually jump into like your stream of urine.
Yeah,
and
No,
swim
you're
up
like,
it.
that's the thing, because obviously the jungle's moisture. You might be weeing somewhere, and there might be like a pool of water there.
Yeah.
So like anywhere, they were just like, look, if you're pissing, just make sure you break the stream, because like, yeah, if you piss directly into water, pretty much you are 100%. But you don't want to be then have like a puddle what you don't see, and then you're pissing in it, and then you got a barb dick.
Well, Mike, can you Google what this creature's called? 'Cause we need to know what that's
I can't
called.
think what it's called.
But what other sort of creatures? So we've got one creature in the jungle. So your boss has found a tarantula in his Bergen. You were obviously, chances are that you get something that's going to swim up your stream of piss and dig itself into your penis. How do you get that out?
I don't know. Like I remember watching the thing. Like they show you all sorts of like pictures and that, and I remember watching that, and everyone, as soon as they were talking about things just swimming up your piss, it's just like, nah.
Nobody knows because everyone
no
sees
one-
that and they think, right, okay, this isn't
I
happening
wonder if
to
it's
me.
like a joke that they're just telling.
It could be. I didn't always say that to people, but apparently people have heard of it. So.
I've heard of that
I've
before.
never heard of
Probably on like a Bear Grylls show or something. But
So what other creatures were in the jungle then?
Well, there was when we were doing the we do a river crossing while we're there, and we were near a big lake which has, I don't know if it's alligators or crocodiles, whichever one. There's obviously different ones, and I remember one night, obviously we go to bed early, and all night you could hear like, and then next morning we get up and everyone's Bergens and stuff, because they're just underneath your hammock, had moved, and it turns out it was the alligator or crocodile what lives in that thing, and it had just been walking underneath us.
No way.
So we're basically like hanging food just there.
How high up off the floor, off the deck were you?
Probably about as high as this table. Like it wasn't real high.
Yeah, so like a crocodile or an alligator will definitely be able to just...
Yeah, you could just have a little snacky snack.
All right, next up is a clip from Mr. Ben Pearson. We've obviously produced his videos for his YouTube channel and his podcast and whatnot, and he came on the show and told us all about his time on Channel 5 Police Interceptors.
Yeah, so I never wanted to do it. I've always had massive issues with my confidence. And when you look back, I was technically poorly when we were doing it. So I think that's half the reason why my confidence was shaken. But Baby Ben did it, who was my partner at work. And every time we filmed traffic cops as well that I've been in office, I was like, no, because everyone recognised me for having a white streak. Yeah. And every time I went somewhere into a pub, or like, I don't know what it's like for you, but every time I went into a pub or a restaurant or whatever, I'd be a pig, or you'd have to sit with your back to the wall so you could see exit entrances, and you never sat with your back to some people. There were certain places you just never go when you got in a taxi. So I always used to wear a cap every time I went out. Like, say you went with your mates and you got back into going to a taxi, I'd put my hood up on, I put my cap on. So I just, so is this where you live, officer? I didn't want any of that, because I had it the other day, we got a Domino's, and as soon as we opened Domino's, I went, officer, this is where you live. And I'm like, fuck.
Can you imagine? Like,
and it's like fucking witness protection. Like now, so many people I think know where I live. I keep saying, Liz, I'm like, we gotta move. All it takes is one of these psychos, one of these people to be a psycho.
Yeah.
And in fact, we had the alarm went off like the other day, and I went down with my dick swinging. Linz was like, the alarm goes off. Adam, someone's downstairs. Nobody was there, but I was like, jumped out of bed, and I started to go down the stairs, and she's like, "You know, put some pants on." I'm like, they're going to be more terrified if I go down and I'm fucking nude.
Can you imagine what
Wrestling burglar area ass out.
Can you imagine what it looked like? Remember the original Crazy Frog when he had a little willy? That's what you look like. I'm playing downstairs like a crazy frog.
But how do we get onto that?
People know where you live. I was about to say, like, the whole public figure, public facing thing. Like I've said to you, like I'd hate to be in your position. I'd hate to be in your position because you're recognised everywhere. But then for somebody to spot where you live, and yours is all right because you just eat videos on YouTube.
Videos.
You eat on YouTube. But being a police officer and having potential criminals knowing where you live is like,
that's what. But when you come out, police rules and guidelines change. Because you don't worry about your job, you just worry about protecting your family. Yeah. Where when you're in the job, you worry about your job and being disciplined. So I went out with Baby Ben's lad called James, who was really, really cool lad from like Cornwall, that sort of area, who's into like just right chilled. And he went, "Come out, mate. It'll be good. You don't have to speak." So Ben says, "Get in car. I'll do all speaking. You just drive." So I did that. And then the first time you it's like this. You've got cameras around you in car. You've got your little battery pack with mic on. Passenger's got a camera on his shoulder, and then James in back says, every time you hear a blip blip, it basically, you've seen something spin round, I'll just go, so cameras are rolling live in car. And it took me about 5 minutes to get used to that. And then they were just breaking ice. And it just happened from there. And then I went out and he says, "You're quite funny on camera." But what I was doing, I was masking who I was. And then, but people seem to like my sense of humour and like me being quirky. And it just ballooned. It was the highest viewed programme on Channel 5.
Higher than Neighbours.
Oh,
good Lord.
It
was popular.
Jason, is it Daphne or whatever? Jason and
Kylie?
Kyle, that's it.
I
Kyle,
didn't watch it back then. I watched it for
Yeah.
a brief moment in time.
you liar.
I don't watch it now.
You liar.
They're going to cancel it, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, sorry. Go
But
on,
yeah,
then.
so I viewed on Channel 5, and it's shown literally worldwide. So it's on Bravo, Paramount, Forces, TV, it's on Channel 5 Catch Up, it's on iPlayer or whatever, all these things. And it's shown on every single channel. You can go around the world. My family who live in Spain, they watch it in Spain. So it's everywhere. And you didn't realise. So then as soon as it started getting aired, everything that we're getting from before, from the shits, it were positive. So you go out and rather than people shout pig, people coming up and just shaking your hand. And these were major criminals. You were sat in car, like doing speed checks, and also an RS4 at pull behind you, and a massive nominal. A nominal's basically a big shit boy. You know, get out at car and someone you dealt with for major organised crime, drug running millions of pounds or whatever. They get out of car and say, oh, Ben, all right, I just wanted to shake your hand. Where before, they'd have probably dragged you to the floor and kick your hand because they see you then as a person, they don't see the uniform. They see you then as the person. And it just went on, and all we're getting were people, can I have your autograph, can I have your photo? Can you come here and do a bit of a meet and greet? Can you do? And it was just sending me like to this place where I've never known because I'm a copper.
Yeah,
I just do my job, but people seem to like it. We had a supercar meet in Shipley for Leeds Supercars, and we got told 3,000 people turned up, but 2,000 turned up to meet me and Steve Suggett. And there were my friends in this row of people that were 10 deep, having a queue. But then my mates, I'm having a beer with you later on in pub. But they were queuing just to have a photo with me. You've got loads of photos with me. Just go on Facebook and have a look. And oh no, but I want to meet you. And you are meet you did. And it's a bizarre concept, and it just went from there. And it skyrocketed, and it just never stopped.
So you've heard and or seen the story of me shitting my pants. Now you can watch one about the time my dick stopped working. Enjoy.
Can you tell us about the time that your dick stopped working?
Oh my god! Are we doing that one? All right, okay.
I'm going to title the podcast that as well.
Yeah, I thought when you said that to me, I thought, that sounds like a bit of a contrived clickbait short. I suppose. But anyway, yeah, I can if you want. Yeah, I'm not shy. Yeah,
It's quite a statement. When you said it in the studio, like before you left, and you were like, "Yeah, one time my dick's actually stopped working."
I don't even understand how we got onto that. We must have been talking about diet or something for me to.
Yeah, I think
to mention it.
Yeah, you're quite an open book, though. To be fair, like when
I don't have anything to
cameras out rolling.
Yeah, that did happen actually one time. I think we were talking about diet or something. But yeah, there's ages ago. A lot of people know the story anyway, because I'd probably mentioned it when we did the whole "Why is he not fat" episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, years ago I did just this really long diet or fat loss phase, whatever you want to call it, where I got like really, really lean. There's only like one picture. I'm not really a gym selfie kind of guy, so there's only really one picture of me in this condition.
Yeah.
But you can see in the picture like how lean I am, and one thing I think people don't realize about being people. This is the thing, like you see people on Instagram and whatnot, really lean and in shape and whatnot. And if you are really, really lean and you're natural, right? So you're not on any special
extracurriculars,
sauce, then it's really unhealthy. You might look healthy on the surface, so you might look like the what people deem to be healthy, but you're really not. And at the most extreme, I think it was like about 8% body fat, maybe even lower. I can't really remember. But the worst part of that was it fucks with your endocrine system, right? And like hormone production and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I couldn't get an erection. Basically, that's the long and short of this story. Because it affects your production testosterone. So like I would wake up and when you're this is probably back when before my channel, so this would have been 7 years ago,
right?
And so I would have been my late 20s, and at that age you're still in your kind of physical peak, aren't you? Pretty much. So you would normally I don't want to get too graphic, especially for the female listeners, but when you're a man,
there's no. I'm looking at the demographics, man. There's
no female listeners.
No.
Okay, that's a shame. But you usually wake up in the morning and you've got a bit of a pole on, like you got a bit of morning glory, and that's like a natural thing, right? And I remember like I had to go to the doctor for it actually in the end. But yeah, I remember waking up and I would never I just have a completely flaccid. This is a bit graphic, but a totally flaccid member every morning. I thought this is a bit weird, and obviously it would come to.
Bow chicka wow wow.
Yeah,
were you with this?
I was with Linz at this time.
All right, yeah.
So fortunately, because she was quite understanding about it all, but yeah, and I remember just thinking this is really odd, but knowing enough about like the human body, I knew why it was, right? I thought, all right, this is because I probably need to start eating some food and eat a little bit more dietary fat and just get fatter, basically. But I did go to the doctor just in case it was anything dodgy, and I remember him like saying to me, "Is it a new partner?" I'm like, "No." Are there any issues there? Like, and he really quizzed me about like, do you still find each other attractive? I'm like, I fucking hope so. Yeah, in it was just a question of, you know.
Did you panic though? Like that must have been like so.
Nah, I didn't really.
Did you try and get an erection?
What the fuck do you mean? I try and get an erection?
Like so, you wake up like obviously that was like an involuntary action of waking up. But like, did you think this isn't working? Maybe I'll get on the site.
Yeah, well, that's
sponsored by.
Yeah, we could get a sponsor for those with testosterone boosters don't work. If you wondered,
I was thinking about the blue sites. That's all.
Oh, Blue Zeus and stuff. Those pills.
No sites. Like
right.
Pornhub and.
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, like I'd had some difficulty, I think, with Lynn's. This is like probably 3 years into our relationship, so we're not smashing like Catholic bunny rabbits, you know, like you know what I mean. At this point, we kind of cooled off a little bit, but yeah, I still had like issues, and I just thought it was kind of like one of those things. But I remember the thought that went through my mind was like, I knew I had no energy anyway at this point because I was so lean and eating so little for such a long period of time, and I would train all the time. So I remember thinking like it's has to be because of the condition I'm in, really. More than anything.
And what were the reason for you getting in that condition? Like, what's the?
Just wanted to.
You wanted to see how lean you could get.
Yeah, like I've talked about this before, but like I've always been like goal oriented, and especially this time in my life, the gym was like that was my happy place. I spent like 2 hours, sometimes more a day training 6 days a week and stuff, and it was like
Church of Iron.
It wasn't like for I think people think it's vanity especially when it comes to like losing body fat and stuff, and it wasn't really. It was just like, how far can you go, you know? And I remember at that point I was like, I'd look in the mirror and like objectively think, this looks gnarly as fuck, you know? And because especially as well when you diet, and again you're not on any kind of anabolic steroids or anything like that, you don't look like you lift without your shirt on. You just look like a skinny dude, but like if you take your shirt off and you're like, oh man, you can see like veins. If you can see veins in your legs and your butt, it's not a condition to be in. It's horrible,
it's
right?
Too low of a body fat.
But I'm glad I did it just because of the willpower and determination it takes to do it. But that was kind of the point. If you ask Lynn's as well, she hated me in that condition. She really didn't like it. And she was like, I think you've done enough now. And that's how the whole food challenge thing started, actually, because she was like, oh, I've seen this thing. And I still loved food at that time. But I slowly kind of came out of that. And luckily, you know, my winky started working again after not too long. But I remember that. Next
clip is where Mr. Mike Winnet tells us about his time he met GaryVee, and this one in particular gave us a lot of heat in the comments. People don't like us talking bad about Mr. GaryVee, but I'm pretty sure Mike's yet to get that Netflix deal.
So then I went to this GaryVee's event to take some pictures as if I'd been talking at this event. It was like the whole concept. But then because I was sat there and I saw this happen, I never knew when GaryVee was going to be on. So I had to sit through 2 days of people selling their bullshit. So I went there and my idea was I was just going to be my life as a entrepreneur. So it's like getting the best-selling book and like doing all these things that they do to almost expose the process that they follow. And all I went to that event for was I was going to ask Gary if he'd give me a forward for my book, and it was going to be my life as a entrepreneur. So I had the word, I just hadn't assigned it to that type of thing yet. Yeah, so my whole plan was ask GaryVee for a forward for my book, and I thought he would say, I don't fucking know you. And that was going to be the forward for my book. It was like, forward from GaryVee, and it was just going to be, I don't even know who you fucking are. And that was going to be it. It was a joke, and it was a $2,000 joke because I had to pay 800 quid to ask GaryVee a question. I had to pay 800 quid to sit at the front and then ask a question. And then I had to pay for hotels. I had Ian in the cheap seats, like filming and stuff like that. So we had this all planned, and it was all for this one moment. And that's when we came up with the entrepreneur formula. We thought, oh, we're going to make this. Anyway, but on the GaryVee thing, and I've got a video about meeting GaryVee. I'm queuing to ask him a question, and a girl, 2 in front of me or 3 in front of me, you can see it on the video, on my YouTube video, she then asked GaryVee my fucking question. Hey, Gary, I've just wrote a book. Can I get a forward for my book? And I thought, what the fuck? Like, I've waited 2 days for this, spent $2,000 for this one moment, and she stole my fucking thunder. So I thought, shit, what am I going to do? And I'm like shitting myself. I'm like looking up at Ian, like, what the hell am I going to do here? Like the whole big GaryVee moment where he's going to go, fuck off, no. He said the same things. We're like, I don't even know. You're going to romance the girl?
So what happened then when you stepped on stage with Gary then?
I just thought, shit, man, I've got nothing to say to him. I've got 5 seconds with him. I'm going to shoot my shot. And at that moment, I just said, Gary, proper mad one. I sold my business.
Did you say it that way? You say proper mad one?
Yeah. I was like,
he's an American
Gary,
guy.
like, proper mad one. I said, like, I sold my business 2 years ago for 8 million. He was like, yeah. So what are you doing here? Legit said that. Like, literally, what the fuck are you doing here? Right? He goes, really? I go, yeah. And I said, and I've never felt so down, empty and depressed at any point in my life. Like, this is like the worst I've felt. And he goes, that's because you've lost your purpose, man. And then the guy's gone, because you're allowed like your photo with him, and the guy's gone like, come away. And Gary goes, I want to know more about your business. He goes, so DM me on Instagram. And I was like, you sure? I said, like, 'cause if I could send it to you and you'll ignore me. And he's like, no, just like send me a DM and I'll get back to you. I was like, sound. So I walked off the stage, and then I just said to Ian, I just said, DM him at that time. So I sent him a DM on Instagram, if I could ignored it. I sent him a DM again like 2 weeks later. And then I couldn't get through to him. So then what I did was I went onto LinkedIn, and it's a little tip for you if you're in sales. I went and found everybody that worked around Gary in the organization, added them all on LinkedIn, sent them all a message saying blah, 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 blah. And then one morning, I'd not heard anything off him for like maybe 4 or 5 weeks. Couldn't sleep. And like 4 a.m, I was just on the toilet going for shit. And I just went online and I found GaryVee's email. And it was like Gary at GaryVaynership, or VaynerMedia, whatever it was. And I just messaged him saying like, I'm that guy that you met in Success Result. You probably don't remember. He sold my business for 8 million, proper depressed. He says, get in touch with you. And I'm not joking. I have to wash my hands, flush the toilet. Email reply. Copied in 2 of the people that I followed on LinkedIn that said, I like this guy, get him over to New York.
What was it like meeting him then? You know, like...
Mad setup. I mean, he's clever. Walked into a big building. There's like, almost like, this is bearing in mind, you can see the Empire State Building from his office window. So it's, I don't know how many floors up it is, but L'Oreal's in the same building. There's only 2 businesses in there. And we turn up and there's like just escalator at the far end, like a little reception there. But it's like, there should be more stuff in it. This is like a wasted space. The amount this must cost. I'm there thinking like, fucking hell, what a waste of money here. Walked in. I said, are you here to see GaryVee? I was like, yeah, how would you know? They went, because you got a camera crew with you. So we had like a couple of lads filming. And they go, anyone that walks in with the camera is going to see Vayner. So they said like 26th floor. Went in from 26th floor, turned up there. And
wait, there were only 2 businesses in the whole building.
Because L'Oreal's there.
So what, they take up 25 floors?
Mad.
Fucking hair company?
I don't know.
There's some racket going on there. Somebody needs to investigate those rooms. Anyway, sorry, Mike.
so I've gone up. I was sat in the sort of reception, it's quite big or whatever, and there's like 4 or 5 people waiting around. Giddy as fuck. So glad that they're there. It's like, what are you here for? Like, what are you doing? Oh, we've paid to have they're called 4D.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is like, but it's called the 4D. And basically you pay 15 grand to have a 10-minute meeting with GaryVee. It's mad. And he has all the offices set up. And then you pitch or you talk to him about whatever you want to talk about. You pay 15 grand to be there. You get 10 minutes of his time. He records it. He tries to give a sound bite of sort of nonsensical business advice. Just post more shit. That's it, boom. And then that's him done. And then he cracks on. But this is where he's smart. If you pitch a fucking brilliant idea to him, he goes, brilliant idea. Why don't we help you? I want to get involved. And then he either invests in that business or he goes, well, I'll give you 15 grand or 20 grand and I'll take 10% and we'll take over your social media. So he's kind of getting in there. And this is why you can't knock the guy for how smart he is. You've paid to pitch your fucking idea to me. If it's a good idea, I'm going to buy in, support you, and you can go and run. And he's kind of got the next generation of entrepreneurs, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, early doors. So he was in the room when, was it Uber was made and stuff like that? So he's getting all these ideas like put to him. If your business is shit, he goes, great idea. I wish you all the luck with that. And then they get the pictures with GaryVee and they get the social media bit, which is the only thing they were turning up for anyway. Yeah. So they're happy regardless. And that's what he does. So I was like, 15 grand to pitch your business idea to someone and them to go, sound, I'm now going to take a percentage of your company and help you. Like, fair play to the guy. He's basically, and that's why he's on TikTok and he's on all these sort of social media platforms. He's realized while his peers want to be like, I want to be like Richard Branson and I want to be like these people. That's the generation. They're dead now in business.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be these people anymore. The next generation of entrepreneurs, the 15, 16, 17-year-olds, have grown up on GaryVee. So he is the Richard Branson. So like my generation, Richard Branson's that guy. But to this generation of business people, GaryVee's that guy because he has been the person that they go to or seen or listened to and sound bites from. Anyway, so they've all gone in. I've gone in. And there's two ways we could have shot this video. We could either put out the anti-GaryVee version or the pro-GaryVee version. He was not interested, but he didn't really know why we were there at this point. Because to him, we're just one of 10 meetings he's done. Who's this? Oh, it's the they won the 4D, is what they called it. Like, what are you here for? I said, remember we met at this thing? I went to this event. The video's on YouTube if you want to watch it, but explain to him what we do. He's not interested, really. He's just like, yeah. And then his soundbite was, that's because you're an entrepreneur. You love the chaos of startups. You're a thoroughbred. And all that bullshit. I'm like looking at him. Ian's like, yeah, of course we are. That's what we are. The mad thing about it was Ian said something in that meeting, and then after GaryVee left, he actually tweeted that out as his line. So that was the first time we ever had like an idea of ours fucking stole by GaryVee. Anyway, and then when I said, I've been recording something called the Entrepreneur Formula, it's where I go around to people's speaking events and expose the unethical marketing and sales tactics that they use. And he was like, I actually went to one of your events to film, and then he was just like, you watch his body language, what were the audience like when I spoke? They don't think I'm one of those guys, do they? And he was proper on edge then, because he's probably now thinking, are you filming this now? Have you stitched me up?
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that's what the fucking 27th floor is for, so we can throw you down when shit like that happens, straight down the shaft.
Right, and this is why I don't really like the guy. So anyway, long story short, he says, I want to put you in front of a big audience. This is a brilliant idea, brilliant concept. I can help you get into Netflix. I've got a contact there. Like, I'm going to help you. So I was like, yes, sound. Anyway, he goes, but Netflix wants an enemy. So it needs to be about someone. And I was like, no, I want to teach people the formula and the actual what to look out for rather than one scapegoat. Because if I said, Ty Lopez is the entrepreneur, let's say it's him, right? And then any course that isn't sold by Ty Lopez using exactly the same tactics, no, you'd think, but it's not Ty Lopez, so these must be legit. I'd rather teach a man how to fish. He lives for a lifetime. Give a man a fish. He eats for a day. That it was that sort of concept. So I was like, no, I just want to teach people how it works so they can apply it to anybody. So they don't have to go, is this guy one? It's just go, does it follow this formula? He probably is. Like, that's it. Give them the education, let them make their own mind up. He was like, no, it needs to be about someone. Who's the worst person you've seen? And I said, well, I didn't name them in the video. I'm not going to name them here, like on camera. So he goes, cut the cameras. So we cut the cameras, stopped filming. And Gary said, who was the worst person? I told him, and he was absolutely bouncing off the walls. He was like, yes, he's one of the worst. He gives our industry a bad name. It needs to be about him. Like, it needs to be about him. Like, and he was all for it then, right? Anyway, this is why I don't respect GaryVee. Number one, he never introduced us to Netflix. But number two, about 3 months after our meeting, the person who I told him was the worst person, and he agreed with and said he was the worst in the industry, give the industry a bad name, he couldn't stand the guy. There was a picture of them two together in his office, and they were doing some joint content, and they were doing something together.
The next clip is from one of my favourite episodes, actually, Danny Mitchell. It's not the one where he tells us when he cut weight, his piss looked like treacle. I enjoyed the imagery behind that one, but this is when he got dojo stormed, which apparently is where somebody comes into your dojo and lays down the gauntlet.
Yeah, so dojo storming is basically when somebody busts into your gym and just challenges the coach or whatever. So and
like a Karate Kid.
Yeah,
when Cobra Kai rock up and they're like, look, I want to fight. My best guy's gonna fight your best guy, but they do it themselves.
Yeah,
that's happened to you then.
Yeah, that's happened. Yeah. It's not in like they didn't come in like and announce themselves like I'm here to take over the gym or whatever. But yeah, I've had people come in and challenge me, and yeah, it's another podcast in itself, that just talking about stories, people come in. But yeah, I had a guy the most recent one, I had a guy when I was away somewhere. A guy came in and he was. I might have been in Thailand, and a guy had come into the gym and asked about who's teaching grappling, and they said, "Oh, Danny's the head coach or whatever, but he's not here." And they were like, "Oh, well, I'm going to come in, I'm going to test him," and and I was like,
That's just really weird.
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, and I was like, "Fucking hell!" So I was teaching class, and then I was halfway through teaching a class, and I seen this random guy come in. He started like stretching off on the side of the mat, and I knew straight away. I'm like, "This is the guy." This is the guy, and I just told everyone, I said, grab a partner, start grappling. Everyone started grappling, and the guy didn't want to fight me, he just wanted to grapple. So I think what he thought in his head is that he could come grapple me, maybe beat me, and then he'd be able to like take the class, he'd be able to say I'm the coach or something. That's sort of what I got from there weren't many words exchanged, and then I just jumped on his back and just strangled him. And
did he tap, or did you fully like choke him?
He tapped, but I put him to sleep. Because I thought you're a fucking twat, you know what I mean? You coming in here, and so he tapped, and he went out, and then I let him wake back up, and I said, "Do you want to go again?" And he said, "Yeah." So I just did it again. I did exactly the same thing again. I took his back, but instead of stinking it under his neck and actually choking him clean, I just put it across his face, and I just tried to snap his neck, and there were a few pops. He tapped, quite a lot on the mat, and then I let it go, and then he left, and that was it, really. So,
but you see that all, like these YouTube bullied like clips and stuff. You see that all the time. So I can't. He probably won't do it again.
Yeah,
or maybe he will. I don't know.
There's been a few over the years. I've had people come in and just like, I
was going to say that. We're probably going to have to do a part 2 with Daddy, because he's got so many stories that are like
so much
amazing. But I'm going to say pre-COVID, so a couple of years ago, we were in the gym. I can't remember what happened, but do you remember there was a guy that called you out, and you said like publicly, and you've got a big following across Facebook and across Instagram. You were like, I'll pay you 500 for the winner.
No, it was I remember, because this came up on my memories recently. So it was 10 grand. Yeah. So this basically, I'd booked this guy to fight. Yeah. This guy was fighting amateur rules, right? And he was getting paid, which doesn't happen, yeah? So he's there. He's like a journeyman. He's there just to basically make the numbers up. I was missing a fight. He was going to turn up. I was going to pay him. He was going to jump in with someone who's, more experienced than him, but, he's going to get stuck in and get 100 quid out of it or whatever. So he's turned up. He's way heavier than the other guy. He's seen the other guy and thought, I don't fancy this. So he's like, oh, we're not the same weight, so... And he's bailed, and I'm like, "Yeah, you're not the same weight. You're heavier than the guy. That's your advantage. You've got the advantage of weight. He's better than you. He's probably going to win. That's why I'm paying you to be here. You roll." Anyway, he kicked off, and he said he was going to report me to this MMA association, which doesn't exist. So I'm like, and so there's this back and I was just taking the piss. I'm like, "Yeah, you report me to that association, mate. Yeah, well done." And it got to the stage where he actually. And I'm screenshotting this and just putting it on Facebook. Everyone's laughing. And then it got to the stage where he started commenting on it, and he's like, "You're a fucking dick. I'm going to fight you." And I'm like, hold on a minute, right? So you've turned up to my gym. I've got you a fight with this amateur who's had a couple of fights, who, you've decided you don't want to fight him, so you're going to bail. Now you think you're going to fight me. Do you know what I mean? I've had all these fights. So you don't want to fight this other guy for whatever reason, because you think he's going to beat you. And now you want to fight me. I'm like... And he's like, yeah, I'll knock you down a few pegs or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine. Come to the gym on Friday and we'll fight. And he's like, oh, no, what we'll do is we'll do it on like a show or something. And I'm like, nah, you don't get to prepare. I'm like, if you want to fight, you come down on Friday and at 7 o'clock and we'll fight. We'll have a fight. And I said, I tell you what, if you can survive more than 3 minutes, I'll give you £10,000. And they were like, and everyone's going crazy, like, what the fuck, So then I turned up to the gym on Friday. The gym's just full of fucking people.
You've never seen as many people at the gym.
Everyone's just there. And I just had 10 grand. I got 10 grand out in cash. And I'm just like, there's your 10 grand. I did a live video. There's your 10 grand, time's ticking. Get here. All you got to do is survive. You don't have to beat me. If you can just survive more than 3 minutes. Once that clock hits 3 minutes, 10 grand's yours. I wouldn't have let him get out of a minute. I would have fucking put him to sleep. But
You are mad.
He just
Absolutely mad.
How did you feel when Danny was staring into your eyes telling you that
A bit
story?
scared.
yeah, but he just,
A pool of something on the floor. I don't know what it is.
but he just never turned up, and then he just disappeared, and no one ever heard from him again. But I had nothing to do with that, by the way. He didn't
Sleeping with the fishes.
This is hands down the best achievement of the podcast today. Like, forget the subscribers, the views, the listens, the fact that you guys have changed Adam's Wikipedia for life. Let's keep this rolling. The time that we manipulated Wikipedia. There's an edit button. Should we just start adding stuff to it? Surely that can't be. Is that legal?
I think, yeah, as far as I know, the way Wikipedia works is there must be some kind of overarching
Body.
somebody that monitors it, right? Because you always get those gags, don't you, when people edit famous people's pages for like a split second screenshot and then somebody changes it back or whatever. I don't know if that extends to people that are as meaningless as me.
This is your task, mate, right? Can you add on there where it says, better known as Beard Meats Food, a professional competitive eater and YouTuber that stands at 5'3"
I knew you were going to say that. Put it in there, yeah. See if anyone changes back.
So this comment, this is by far one of the best comments. So the Fat Runner has commented saying, his Wikipedia is now hilarious. So, quote, a big fan of the game show Family Fortunes, he shouts Les Dennis before commencing any eating challenge. Now, this is prime example of why the internet is undefeated. Like what we've managed to do in this little podcast to cause your Wikipedia page to be absolute carnage.
Is the guy that left the comment the guy that made the amendment on Wikipedia? We need to find out who that is because that's the funniest thing I've seen, I think, all year.
No, but I think it's constantly changing. So, like, George and I have probably been checking it every few days, and it does change every single time. And I'm wondering if they're going to cotton on at some point to be like, you can't do this. But it's still there. The Family Fortunes thing's still there.
You know what's scary? The amount of, so I screenshotted that, right? Because it made me laugh for about 5 minutes non-stop. So I screenshotted it, tweeted it, and I put it on my Instagram story. And the number of people who replied saying, wait a second, is this true? Is terrifying. Like, you know, like some people like, who's Les Dennis? I get that. That's. I don't expect everyone to know who Les Dennis is. Far from it. But like the people like, why do you shout Les Dennis? Like, I don't shout Les Dennis. The joke is that it's not Les Dennis. Who's Dennis? It sounds a bit like it. I'm gonna do that in the next video I film. I'm gonna shout. I'm just gonna say Les Dennis. Eyeball the camera and just say Les Dennis.
For a long time, it was like stands at 4'3" inches. Like, it's just constantly getting changed. So, next clip is of when Beard called out Mr. Paddy the Baddie, who's yet to still come on this show.
Because he's scared of me fucking armbarring him into next week. That's a move, right? You probably can't armbar somebody into next week.
You've got ridiculous confidence within your like combat ability, which is just unjustified.
It's entirely unjustified. But I feel like with Paddy, I'd just tell him a riddle, confuse him, and then when he's like, I don't really know, I'd be like, it felt I've got to be careful how I phrase this because I know Paddy's he probably doesn't listen to the podcast.
He's a fan of yours.
I know he's a fan, and he seems to talk about me all the time in scenarios. Yeah, in scenarios where nobody's going to know. Like, he'll be on it could be on Jonathan Ross, and he'd probably say like, "Oh yeah, watch this guy called Baby." So everyone's going to be like, "Who?" But yeah, he seems like a decent lad. He had a very powerful message to extend at the end of the fight, if you remember watching. Yeah, I don't know, but a little bit of me, I don't know, maybe it's just like bloodlust. Just wanted to see him get penciled, you know? Like, I don't know. But as soon as the other bloke came out, dude looked like a pound stretcher Pete Wentz. I thought he's not gonna tangle up our man Paddy. But yeah, I did see it, yeah.
He didn't do bad, the other dude that Paddy fought, though, because he's like, he seems a pretty accomplished grappler and wrestler, and he did wrestling for a full round. I think Paddy lost the first round, didn't he?
Yeah, that's where I said this before. That's where I want to appreciate it more, but it loses me a bit when they go to ground.
Yeah,
because I don't understand. Sometimes you know who's like in control, right, and who's won the ground bit.
Yeah,
but other times I'm like, I don't see what he's trying to do. I know that the commentators be like, oh, he's in full guard, he's going to try and get him in this and that, and I'm like, I don't really get it. But because you said you know all about BJJ, right? Your fucking super purple belt or whatever. And you said that like the finisher move that he used was like, I think the terminology he used was sick.
It was very technically sound.
Because he trapped his arm and he choked him out. It wasn't like just a choke. It wasn't just a standard rear naked choke, was it?
No. So he managed to put a body triangle on him, whilst trapping one arm, which left him one arm. The guy that was getting choked had one arm to defend two have had his arm. So at that point, it was just like it's over. Like
Matter of time.
Yeah, we knew that that was all she wrote. But technically, that was like amazing, you know. So I really enjoyed that, and I actually had that conversation in the gym this morning with somebody. Like we were chatting about the. Did I
tell you, by the way, I was in the gym this morning.
After blowing my leg to pieces a few months ago, I'm back in action. But the guy was like, oh yeah, I really enjoy watching MMA and the UFC, but he had no idea about grappling. I'm like, it must be really difficult to watch to not know. If you don't know about grappling, you're losing like a majority of the thing. Like, you know, how can you watch it and not know what's...
I think it's like Danny said it right when he came on. It's like, if you like UFC but not the grappling, then you just like kickboxing, really.
Yeah. And
I kind of get that, but it is hard to understand, I guess, if you've never done it, because like you can see if somebody's winning in like a boxing match or a kickboxing match if you know nothing about how to punch somebody.
Yeah.
But like when they're on the ground, I can usually tell who's winning, but like a lot of the techniques, the way that he won, I was just like, he won.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it and think technically that's really good because I don't know any better, right?
Did it not spur on a little bit of grappling in your household?
Yeah,
you sent us DMs in the group chat, man. Like, he's sending us photos of Mrs. Beard choking him out. I'm like, this is getting weird. Like, it's late on, a couple of wines. I'm thinking, what the fuck are they doing now?
It's not the first time either. But because whenever I think about UFC, I think, you know, and I see them get, because commonly if they're submitted, a lot of the ones I've seen, it's like a choke, right, or a rear naked choke. That's a technical term, right?
Yeah,
I got that right.
Yeah.
And I think, like, why do they tap? Not why do they tap, right? I get why they tap, but like, if you've been choked out, you're gonna lose consciousness, right? It's not pure pain in the sense that, like, an arm bar, you're gonna break your arm or something.
Yeah.
I get why they tap there because you're protecting yourself. So I kind of think, like, wouldn't you just go to the death and think, fuck, I just pass out?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have done that.
But that got me thinking. I was like, Linz, get me in a choke hold, right, and see if you can actually, if I can resist the choke to the point that, like, you can just choke me. Right, which was bad because I used my throat to like make a living. That sounded weird. But anyway, I wasn't trying to resist in any way. I just said, get me in a choke, see if you can choke me out. And sure enough, she choked me out, right, pretty quick. So I was like, and like, so I actually tapped.
Can you upload the picture of the group chat?
I did send you a picture mid choke.
What was really funny, because I commented back saying, can I please coach this? Because Lindsay had her elbow slightly off to the side. I put, get your elbow under his chin, grab your own bicep with that hand, and then hide your hand behind his head. And then the next message back was, this is Lindsay, Adam's unconscious.
It was actually her as well. I wasn't unconscious, but she did. She said, let me message him back. Then we had the second round, and I said, right, let's do it again, but see if you get me a choke, see if I can actually get out of it. But if I try to get out, and obviously I could because she's weak, but yeah, no, she like I get why he would, because nobody wants to be unconscious, do they? I guess that's why they tap. But yeah, no, I watched the UFC and I enjoyed some elements of it. Yeah.
What about Molly? Big Molly Meatball McCann. She almost finished it again with another spinning elbow to the.
It's like Street Fighter, right? She's pulling out special moves, like signature moves and whatnot. Yeah, I did watch it, and I'm not gonna lie. I thought when I saw him come in, don't judge a book by its cover, I guess, because the other woman looked in immaculate shape.
Yeah.
She looked like a fighter, man. Not that Molly doesn't look. I'm just saying, like, she looked more physically.
She was jacked, wasn't she? She was like, she had more muscle density than George. He looks like
she had more muscle density than all of us. I think she was she looked really jacked. But yeah, I think she would just don't know. I think there's just a certain ferocity, isn't there, about Molly? That she kind of gets that look in her eye. Yeah, I mean, she looks very scary.
She's intense.
I mean, I'm always like sledging Paddy a little bit on her because he won't come on the podcast, and he keeps ducking these videos that we're eating videos and whatnot.
Well, he ain't going to come on now after you said you wanted to see him get penciled.
He's got sense of humour. I'm only joking, but I wouldn't be sledging Molly. I think if I said anything bad, she'd remember. Then if she ever saw me in public, she'd just fucking like clothesline me or whatever. So
the last clip of this episode is when I unfortunately lost Breaking Beard. And what's happening with this scorpion, man?
I'm actually just checking right now as you talk.
I thought you were still messaging your nan about a sex life.
It's on my ground the weekend, actually.
Oh yeah,
no sex stories, fortunately. It's en route. It's I haven't checked the tracking, but it shouldn't be too much longer. Don't you worry.
So Josh is one question away from
If he gets the wrong answer, he will have to eat the habanero pepper or the scorpion. It's his choice. But let's see if he gets this one right. So first question for Adam is, which planet is the hottest in our solar system? Venus, Saturn, or Jupiter?
I would say balanced probability. It's got to be Venus.
Final answer?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Close to the sun, isn't it? Thought unless there was some kind of mad like nuclear reaction going on Jupiter.
Course,
Smash it close to the sun.
Of course.
I forgot I'm supposed to pretend like I'm dumber than I actually am on this podcast.
Okay, so question for Josh. When Michael Jordan played for the Chicago Bulls, how many championships did he win? 5, 6, or 7?
That is really hard. I don't know anything about basketball, but that's a tough question.
If you've seen The Last Dance,
I have seen The Last Dance. But like,
It's on your favourite films list.
it's not on my favourite films list. I can't remember. Like, I want to say 5.
I'm not that want to influence your answer, right? But I see you've got a highball, haven't you? Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player. If you're uncertain, and look, I'm not saying. I know what I would guess, but
I can't remember how many he did on the. I've watched the film as well, and I just can't.
the sad thing is we don't actually have the scorpion yet. Or I'd make it. You've got a brief respite. If you do get it wrong, you don't immediately have to eat the scorpion or the pepper, whichever you're choosing. I can't wait to see this. I tell you. I hope it goes with the pepper, personally. But like equally, I don't imagine.
I want the scorpion.
You want the scorpion?
Fuck.
My gut's saying 6. I don't know why I'm thinking 6 though.
You know what they say about your gut?
Trust it.
I don't want to trust my gut. This is fucking awful. People are like, just answer the question. You don't have to eat a scorpion. I'm gonna say 5. Final answer.
Final answer.
6. Final answer.
Definitely.
I don't know. I'm fucking
6.
panicking.
Final answer.
This is awful.
You're trying to read George, aren't you?
Yeah. George, blink once for 6.
I'm
If it's
watching you.
correct.
I'm watching you, George.
So you're going for 6. Locked it in.
5.
Final answer.
Yeah, final answer.
It's 6, mate.
I could tell George was trying to help you there. I'm staring at George like, don't you fucking dare give me clues. Oh, are you gonna mull it over? Keep the people guessing what you're gonna actually choose between the. Because I'll watch either. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get the thing. So make sure you're not fucking around and buying like a gummy scorpion or something. You mull it over. You lost way quicker than I thought you would.
I lost dramatically. Like,
You might really, really upset by it as well. Never heard you shout that
I'm
loud.
fucking gutted.
You peaked the mic levels there. I think that's trashed.
Do you know what I'm gonna do?
What?
I cannot eat a fucking pepper, so I'm gonna have to eat a
You
scorpion.
can do with the scorpion. I'll start researching, George. We'll see what we get. None of those little tiny little things. We're talking a big. Well, I don't mean like a fully grown motherfucker. But like, I don't want it to be like tiny.
It's got to be like that.
Not the kind you get in lollipops. We're talking talking like those that come. I know where you get them in the can and they come and they're wet and they're not fucking dried up and shit. That's the kind you get.
Hope you enjoyed that episode. A little sneak peek of what we've actually been up to for the last year. Plenty more episodes to come. Plenty more guests to come. That's why we've got an empty seat there. And we'll catch you on the next one.